One bright morning, a little tailor was working in his shop. As he took a break, he spread some jam on a slice of bread and was about to eat it when 7 flies started buzzing around him. Annoyed, he grabbed the clothes and, with one quick strike, he killed all 7 at once. Proud of his achievement, he made himself a belt and stitched big letters on it, 7 in one blow. Feeling brave, he decided it was time to see the world and show everyone his strength. He packed a piece of cheese in his pocket, caught a small bird and placed it in the other pocket. Then, with a cheerful heart, he set off on his journey. After walking for a long time, he stopped near a mountain to rest. There, he met a huge giant with a stern face. When the giant saw the tailor's belt, he frowned. 7 in one blow, he thought. He believed the little man had defeated 7 warriors at once. Wanting to test the tailor's strength, the giant picked up a massive rock and crushed it into pieces with his bare hands. The tailor, staying calm, pulled out the cheese from his pocket and squeezed it until some juice dripped out. The giant, surprised, gave him another challenge. He threw a rock so high that it disappeared into the sky. The tailor, clever as always, took the little bird from his pocket and tossed it into the air. The bird flew where it never came back down. Amazed, but unwilling to admit defeat, the giant invited the tailor to stay in his cave for the night, hoping to scare him away. But the tailor, fearless, acted as if he were completely at ease and found a spot to sleep. That night, while the tailor slept, the giant lifted a massive rock and let it drop onto his bed, thinking he had crushed him. But the little tailor, sensing danger, had quietly slipped into a corner. The next morning, he got up, stretched, and greeted the giant as if nothing had happened. The giant, now truly frightened, let him live without a fight. The little tailor continued on his journey until he reached a big kingdom. There he heard of a king in trouble. 2 wild giants were causing havoc across the land. Curious, he went to see the king, who immediately noticed his belt. Impressed, the king offered him a challenge. If the tailor could defeat the giants, he would be rewarded with half of the kingdom and the hand of the princess. The little tailor accepted without hesitation. He set off into the forest where the 2 giants were sleeping, climbing into a tree. Watching them closely, he picked up a large stone and dropped it onto one of the giants. The giant woke up angrily and blamed the other. The second giant, offended, roared and pushed his companion. Soon, the 2 monsters were fighting furiously until they both collapsed, knocked out cold. The tailor returned to the castle and announced his victory. But the king, not wanting to give his daughter to a mere tailor, gave him another challenge: capture a wild unicorn that was terrorizing the countryside. The tailor set out again, searching for the unicorn. Before long, he saw it charging towards him, its sharp horn gleaming. At the last moment, it jumped behind a tree, and the unicorn ran straight onto it, its horn getting stuck deep in the trunk. Pleased with his success, the tailor returned to the castle. But once again, the king was reluctant to keep his promise. So he set one last challenge: to capture a giant wild boar that was destroying the fields and scaring the villagers. The little tailor walked onto the forest, listening carefully. When he spotted the white boar, he began to run with the furious animal chasing after him. Then he saw a small abandoned hut, went inside and jumped out through a window. The white boar, unable to stop, rushed inside after him. Bam! The tailor quickly shut the door behind it. This time, the king had no more excuses. The little tailor had completed all the challenges. So he gave him the princess' hand in marriage, and a grand wedding was held. However, one night, the princess heard the tailor talking in his sleep and realized that it was just a simple tailor. Troubled, she told her father, and together they decided to get rid of him. So, one night, the king sent his guards to take the tailor away in secret. But the little tailor, always sharp, had overheard everything. He pretended to be fast asleep. Just as the guards reached his bed, he suddenly shouted, "Beware! I have slain 7 in one blow, captured a unicorn and a white boar. Do you think you can defeat me?" Terrified, the guards ran away and never dared to return. And so the clever little tailor remained king and lived happily ever after.